everyone, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. It's wonderful to see all these Rotarians here with us today. What a great turnout. We're going to start our meeting with the invocation led by Jason Ellis, Senior VP, Commercial Lending with Plains Capital Bank, and will be followed by our national anthem led by our own Andy Taft, amazing president of our Downtown Fort Worth, Inc.
Now I'm intrigued by the national anthem, Andy. Thank you. Heavenly Father, thank you for blessing us with another day of life and another opportunity to share lunch with friends. Let us maintain a spirit of gratitude for the many blessings that we have given and for the many relationships that we share. We ask that you continue to cultivate the hearts in this room for service. Bless our efforts as we strive to serve our neighbors and others around the world. We pray for wisdom and discernment that we may see and know your truth so that we may do your good will. Help us to seek your will and not our own. May we pray as if everything depends on you, and may we work as if everything depends on us. We pray that you would guide us to encourage those around us, starting first and foremost within our own house. Help us to strive to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies, and bless the many hands that have prepared it. As we go forth, grant us the spirit of gratitude. We are thankful for your grace and for your many blessings. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Duet?
Right, with duet? Sure. All right. How many of you have been in a choir? Very? Too few. All right. How many of you have played an instrument in an orchestra? Okay, too few. How many of you know how to follow instruction? Okay. All right, the last time we did this, the last time, I know, Dick, yeah. The last time we did this, it was a lot of fun, right? This time, think about the words. Think about the words, what the words mean. You're not just going to sing this from rote, right? Think about the words, what the words mean. Follow my direction. On 2 occasions, I will do this, and I will point to this side of the room, and you will sing. And I will do this, and you will sing, and you will be quiet, right? Right? This means louder. This means louder. This means softer, right? Right? And the first note is, oh, right, oh, say, right? Ready? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Jason, and thank you, Andy. Everyone, great job. We should go on tour now. We'll start advertising. Abby, you've got our video to advertise. Fantastic. Great job, everybody. That's what Rotary does. We like to surprise ourselves. All right. Now, to introduce today's visitors, please welcome Rotarian Kimberly Jarridge. Miss Jarridge.
Thank you, and happy Father's Day weekend to everyone. I feel like I need to give instructions, but you won't follow this one anyway. We used to say don't clap or hold your clapping till the end, but no one follows that rules. So we welcome our guests and visiting Rotarians. Arnie Gottman, who is a guest of Mike Herman. Just stand so we can recognize you. Thank you. Frank Inali, also a guest of Mike Herman. Welcome. Eric Wessinger is a guest of Lauren Wessinger. Calvin Pinnell is a guest of John Kirk. Curtis Graham is a guest of Josh Friend. Jody Newton is a guest of Chris Cobbler. Welcome. And we have a visiting Rotarian, Scott Rader. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. Madam President, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. And to our visitors, we're so glad you chose to join us today. And to our visiting Rotarian, Scott Ryder, welcome. All right, it's time to thank our program sponsor for the day, Cadence Bank. Thank you to past President Mark Nurden. Cadence Bank is a $50 billion regional financial services company committed to helping people, companies, and communities prosper with more than 350 locations. Cadence offers comprehensive banking, investments, trust, and mortgage products and services to meet the needs of individuals, businesses, and corporations. Thank you again, past President Mark Nurden. All right, everyone, it's that time. What time? What time is that? Our four-way test. To our visitors who may not be familiar with the four-way test, the four-way test is a guide of what we think, say, and do, not just here in Rotary, but in our everyday interactions. So please join us, and you can view the screen for those of you not familiar. First, is it the truth? Second, third, will it build good, will and better friend? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Great job, everyone. Now, today's newscaster. Please join us on the stage, Mr. Scott Hackler, founder and CEO, Halo del Santo, LLC.
You know who the old timers are by who does the clap with the slow clap. You know, these ones who've, and I'm an old timer too after 15 years, so I appreciate the classic clap. Thank you very much for that. At a county commission meeting in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, a protester released an unknown number of crickets. She dropped something from the balcony, one commissioner said. Crickets were everywhere, on the walls, on the stairs. Board Chair Mark Gerald stopped the meeting saying, "That's shameful, shameful. You can leave. Thank you very much. We appreciate it." After protesters were removed, the meeting continued, but commissioners were forced to take a recess so janitorial staff could come in. Before closing, Gerald asked if there were any public comments. The response, yeah, crickets, yeah. That's right. Thank you. There are more. There are more. It was announced this week that Tom Cruise earned a Guinness World Record during filming of the 8th Mission Impossible movie. He did so by completing 16 jumps out of a helicopter with his parachute on fire. That is, 16 times in a row, Cruise was strapped to a chute that was doused in lighter fluid and set ablaze. He then jumped out of the aircraft, cut himself free, and deployed a backup chute. In future news, Tom Cruise is dead. The question on everyone's lips, why in the world would he do that so many times in a row? Release 7 sequels, I mean, Tom, it was perfectly clear after the first one the mission was not impossible. I mean, a better name for an 8-film franchise would have been Mission Improbable, okay? Maybe Mission Highly Unlikely. So many choices, honestly. I mean, Mission Unadvisable. I would see that movie. I would see it. I really would. One question I have for the Guinness World Records folks is, can absolutely anything be a category? Apparently so, because I'm pretty sure I hold the record for the most chips and salsa eaten with my mouth on fire. I really need someone to come down to Joe T's this weekend and we can get that one on the books. That would be a good addition. In sports, the baseball team of LSU Shreveport has done what no college team in the history of the sport has ever done, and that is finish its season undefeated. That's right, the Pilots, think river pilots, not airline pilots, made it all the way through the NAIA National Championship without a single loss. Their final record was 59-0. True story, yeah. Also, 21-year-old American Coco Gauff won the French Open on Saturday, her second Grand Slam title, and most definitely not her last. In the words of Earl Warren from when he was Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, quote, "I always turn to the sports section first. The sports page records people's accomplishments. The front page has nothing but people's failures." Pretty good quote. No laughs for me or Earl. That's okay. That's probably what it deserved. Perhaps the biggest news this week is the breakup absolutely everybody saw coming. In spectacular fashion, the bromance between Elon and Donald has come to an abrupt end. Between Election Day and the inauguration, Musk lived and worked much of the time in a $2,000 a night cottage at Mar-a-Lago. Trump even honored him with his own walk-on music when he entered the dining room at the resort. This is true. This is not a joke. And it was David Bowie's Space Oddity, which is ground control to Major Tom. You got that alone that might do it. Those days are over, though. The president has instructed his DJ to play, if Elon ever shows up at Mar-a-Lago again, Taylor Swift's Bad Blood. There you go. Just kidding, of course. His new song is a recording of those crickets from Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. That's I'd prefer the Taylor Swift and the crickets, I think. Frederick Forsyth, the author of The Day of the Jackal and other thrillers, died this week at the age of 86. Heaven just got a little more thrilling. Sly Stone, founding member of Sly and the Family Stone, died this week at the age of 82. Heaven just got a little more funky. There you go. You know, I close today with this. You know, I'm into my 16th year as a member of our club, and I figure I've done the newscast 18 or 20 times, and I've always enjoyed it. I really have. But it's tough these days, right? It's a tough thing to do. So many events are so tragic, they honestly can't even be mentioned. They can't be touched with a 10-foot pole. And to try and find humor in them would be heartless. We look around the world at the people in charge, and honestly, we don't have words. But I do know some words, I do, that speak to this moment that we're in, and it is my hope that they'll be a comfort. They're lyrics to a song that's been sung for 3,000 years, first in Hebrew and over the centuries in every language on earth. And those ancient holy words go like this. Do not put your trust in princes, in mortals in whom there is no help. When their breath departs, they return to the earth. On that very day, their plans perish. Happy are those whose hope is in the God of Jacob, who made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, who remains faithful forever, who upholds the cause of the oppressed. The Lord sets the prisoners free. The Lord opens the eyes of the blind. The Lord lifts up those who are bowed down. The Lord watches over the foreigner. The Lord will reign forever. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. All right, now it's time for a few announcements. First, we'll hear from Ms. Akua Ayanthul, CEO, founder, EA Wealth Management.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. You haven't seen me in a while, and I'm not here to ask you for money, so that's good news. So I'm here to talk about RALA. So for those that don't know what RALA is, it's an intensive leadership program development that started back in 1971 by Rotary International. The purpose of that was actually to enhance the skills of young leaders. And this is a camp whereby they train young leaders for this program. And our club basically is very excited to be sponsoring 5 outstanding students who were actually handpicked by their teachers and schools for this great opportunity and experience. This year we have students from Young Women's Leadership Academy, International Newcomer Academy, as well as I Am Terrell. So we are grateful that the club keeps supporting these young students and pay for the cost of this program. Students will be dropped off and picked up, and usually they're accompanied by Tammy Terra, she's not here today, she's busy working, Randall Howard, and myself. We normally would take the students and pick them up, and this year is being held on June 19th to the 22nd at Texas Women's University. I want to say a special thank you to Randall. I don't know if he's here today, but Randall has been generous enough to arrange transportation the past few years, as well as cover the cost of transportation. So anyone that is willing to cover the cost of transportation, I'll look out for you next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akua. Ryla is really special to us. Thank you both, Akua and Tammy and Randall. We appreciate that. And we expect an update after their program, Ms. Akua. You'll be back to give us an update. Thank you. Next, we have President-elect Ms. Ann Sheets presenting 3 grant awards.
Thank you. You know, the luckiest person in the world is the one who gets to give out money. And so that's me today. Today, we have our first grant for $5,000 going to Meals on Wheels. The grant will fund client needs throughout the year, and accepting for the organization is Nicole Rabstock.
Thank you so much for coming here.
Our second grant, also of $5,000, goes to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. This grant will fund financial assistance programs for children with leukemia. Accepting the check is Chloe Wilder. And finally, our third grant today, also for $5,000, goes to the Warm Place. This grant will go to help children ages 3 through 18 dealing with grief due to the loss of a sibling or parent. Accepting the check for the Warm Place is Shelley Bettis. We appreciate all that these great organizations do for our community, and as a reminder to our club, we can only make these grants through the generous support of the membership of Rotary. Please consider helping make these grants possible by donating to one of the charitable funds that Rotary sponsors, either the Children's Fund or the Endowment Fund, and we just happen to have a QR code on the screen to make it easy for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ann, and congratulations to our grant recipients, Nicole, Chloe, and Shelley. Thank you for being here with us today. We're glad you're here, and we hope you come back. You'll come back with a grant and action update. All right, we would not be a Rotary Club without our members, and I always love membership updates, don't you? Today we have 2 second readings. Please welcome Rotary Secretary Christina Judge, Executive Director, Mental Health Connection, with these exciting announcements.
Don't go too far. Okay, second reading today is Adam Powell, who is the President and CEO of the United Way of Tarrant County. Their classification is not-for-profit. Proposer is AG and past President Sean Snell. I move his election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, and welcome to the Rotary Club.
Our second reading is Evan Lewis, who is the VP Relationship Manager at Bank of America. Classification is banking, and his proposer is past President Courtney Lewis. I move his election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Welcome to our new Rotary member. Thank you so much, Christina. And congratulations, Adam and Evan. Welcome to your Rotary family. Now for our next membership update. Drew Carlton. Where's Drew Carlton? Drew Carlton? Is it, what do you say now? All right, come on up here. Bueller, Drew has just finished his 6 acts of service and is officially becoming a Blue Badger. Step right up here. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Hold on just a second. And then Abby will get a photo in just a moment. Oh, come over here. We'll do a photo real quick. Thank you. Drew, just a moment. Drew was the first gold badge that Aurora has seen and is now a gold blue badge. He's already a gold blue badge. He was a red gold badge, now blue. And don't worry, you can all be a gold badge too. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. You can do so by contributing, as Miss Ann mentioned earlier, to the endowment or children's funds each dues cycle. If you have questions on how to become a gold badge, you can ask me, any of our Rotary board members, or check in with Aurora. We're all happy to assist you. And now, folks, it's time to introduce our chairperson of the day, the fabulous Mike Herman, Chief Operating Officer, Whitley Penn, to introduce our guest speaker. Mike Herman, take it away.
Thank you, President Rebecca. I've had the pleasure of knowing and playing numerous rounds of golf with our keynote speaker, Paul Taylor. Pre-COVID, I took him up on an offer to tour 2 of Martin Sprocket and Gear local plants. The company has 29 North American manufacturing facilities, including locations in Fort Worth, Mansfield, Burleson, Dallas, and its corporate headquarters in Arlington. Additionally, the company serves the global industrial marketplace through facilities in China, Brazil, and the United Kingdom. Martin's reputation as a leading manufacturer of power transmission products, so you'll learn more about what that is, and bulk material handling equipment has been earned through 74 years of steadfast adhering to old school fundamentals that are providing a high quality product, having a lot of it available, and being easy to do business with. Paul is a Fort Worth native and graduate of Texas Wesleyan University. His career with Martin spans 40 years, and he's remained 39 years old. I hadn't figured out that math. Prior to becoming president, Paul's experience with the company included technical sales, establishing and managing the company's Canadian operations, regional management in the southeastern U.S., and as serving as executive vice president of sales and marketing. Paul's career progression with Martin has involved moves to Portland, Toronto, and Atlanta. He has served on the board of the Mechanical Power Transmission Association and has chaired committees for the Power Transmission Distributors Association. While he would like to think that his greatest career accomplishment hasn't occurred yet, he considers the hundreds of key company employees, managers, and officers with whom he's been able to hire, mentor, and develop as what he's most proud of. Paul, who's an avid, but in his own words, poor golfer, he exchanges his golf clubs for trekking poles each fall for mountain backpack hunts. The hunts have provided the background for several of his articles that have been published in outdoor magazines. He and his wife, Brenda, have 2 adult sons and 2 small grandchildren, and they admit to being very bad dog parents to 2 very spoiled bird dogs. With that, let's give Paul a big round of applause.
Thanks, Mike, and I'd like to kind of keep track of just how much money I've had to pay Mike over those last few years, but quite a bit. Before I get going, just for anybody that's not sure, that's a gear. Okay, that's not a sprocket, that is a gear. And it appears to be about a 10 or 12 diametral pitch with a 14 and a half involute pressure angle. But that's, so, Mike's told me a lot about the Rotary Club, and thank you for having me here today. I really appreciate it. But he also shared with me some of the speakers that you've had, the TCU football coach, Van Cliber competition chairperson, the Ben Hogan Company, also the founder of Melt Ice Cream. Well, those you're all familiar with. Martin, Sprocket, and Gear, you're not. So I'm going to drag you through for about a half hour of who we are, what we try to do. We're a 75-year-old company, a family business. We're headquartered in Arlington. And at the end of this talk tonight, when you're laying down, if the melatonin doesn't kick in, just think about sprockets and gears, and that'll put you right out. So I'm going to go through and give you an overview of our products, our history, the involvement of the company, the Metroplex footprint, as Mike talked about, and then our global positioning. We have a big emphasis on inventory. We love inventory. It drives accountants crazy, but we love having our inventory. I'll tell you about the industries that we serve, some of the companies that you would be familiar with that use our products, some of the ranges of our applications, and our methods of manufacturing. Lastly, I'm going to touch upon our business principles and then the way we're using some of the higher tech technology and manufacturing on very low tech parts. I would be remiss if I didn't discuss tariffs and kind of the impact that that's had on us and others in our space. And then I'll just end up with kind of our path forward. But first, let me set this record straight with who we're not. Okay. We have nothing to do with George Jetson or Cogswell Cogs. We have nothing to do with the Sprocket Man comic books from the 70s. We don't make bicycle sprockets, nor do we make motorcycle sprockets. What we do, we make power transmission products, as Mike pointed out. Now, power transmission products are anything that turns on a shaft, chain drives, belt drives, synchronous drives, which are like timing belts that you would see in your car, except we have them obviously for industrial applications. Couplings, if you're going to connect two shafts together, we have very rigid ones. We also have non-metallic ones that allow for angular misalignment and all those other things that will put you to sleep. And then we have ways that you affix any sort of a product like that to a shaft. The other big product group we have are material handling products, products that move product in bulk. So conveyor pulleys, if you've ever seen a coal mine or something, you see the belt conveyors running. Well, we make the pulleys and the idlers that drive those belts. Screw conveyors, people refer to those also as augers. If you're going to move anything like from chicken feathers to sewage sludge to rock to gypsum, all those things that you move in mass. Drag conveyors, bucket elevators. And lastly, it's kind of interesting here in Fort Worth, we actually have a forging operation that makes industrial grade hand tools. We do a lot of private branding for different people that you'd be very familiar with. Not so much with our own name, but the big thing for us in the forging operation are custom forging. So big things, use a hammer, you make it. We do a lot in the oil patch in our forging operation. Incidentally, we have 40,000 SKUs in our stock product offering. So at all that breadth of inventory, we've got 40,000 different part numbers that we maintain. But even with 40,000 different part numbers, 60% of our business are specials, unplanned things that people can't pull right off of a shelf. Kind of starting out, there in the center picture there, that is the old family shed at the family farm out in Arlington. That's where we started. The top left, that was taken in the 50s. That's the Arlington plant. That's when we were really up and humming. So that was the big time. Top right, that's the old Fort Worth Steel and Machinery plant over on McCart Street. That building, incidentally, was built in 1917, and it housed the Texas Motor Association automobile plant. They made like 3,000 cars and trucks. I think they sold them for about $1,000. They operated from 1917 to 1922. And as Mr. Martin used to always say, everything we have in these facilities are for sale, and we actually have one of the cars in our lobby there. It's kind of cool to see. Today, that's our headquarters in Arlington. We're over off of I-20, just inside I-20, off of Bowen. The residents have now all moved up around us. It used to be farmland. Bottom right, that's kind of an aerial picture of the plant. And then in the middle center, that's the Fort Worth Steel and Machinery operation, again, over on McCart. Here in the Metroplex, we have a facility in Mansfield and Burleson. If you're going down I-35, you start to get off to go down to Burleson or Lake Whitney or something, right there, you'll see a Thomas conveyor. Well, that's us. Dallas, we have a foundry. Out in Abilene, we've got a nice power transmission plant. And then in Clarksville, which is on the way to Texarkana near Paris, we have another facility. All of those facilities, plus the Fort Worth campus and Arlington campus, we push right at 2 million square feet under roof. So it's a pretty good little family business. Our North American footprint, all those facilities Mike referred to, I think there's nearly 30 facilities now. All of those facilities maintain a full inventory. You'll hear me talk about inventory a lot. We love inventory, and they all have inventory, but they also do machining. We can either do custom modification of a stock part, but many of those facilities have the ability to do made-to-orders complete turnkey, and each one of them are staffed. We love our people. We have voicemail, but we really like people to talk to people. Some of you mentioned you know Gary Martin, and Gary, of course, loved to talk to people. Our global presence, in 91, we opened Canada, and as Mike mentioned, I was fortunate enough to be part of that founding group. That was a great place, and incidentally, there's no way it's going to become the 51st state. They're not going to go for that. In 93, we opened Martin de Mexico. That's been a tremendous operation for us. We now have 5 plants we operate in Mexico. In 97, we expanded to China, and we've got a pretty extensive presence in China. We had to take our breath for a few years and let the dollars kind of catch up to us a little bit. But then in 2010, we opened up in Brazil. And that was very difficult at first, but as we got going now, Brazil is just a phenomenal operation for us. We do very little moving of product from country to country, by the way. Everything we do is to try to extract more out of and go deeper and deeper into those countries. Here's a few pics of our warehouses. You kind of see the way that we like to maintain things on the shelf. Nice and orderly, and we didn't stage those pictures, I hope, but we love product. Some of the stock products being made, and I'd like to show this, is the diversity. That top left picture, that's actually a non-metallic or rubber coupling element. All the way down to the bottom left, those are augers or screw conveyors. And those are basically 12 inches in diameter and 12 foot long. And we make those, a lot of those in our Monterrey, Mexico facility. And those 12 foot long, 12-inch diameter screws, we make 3 of those every 8 minutes. Where do our parts go? It's pretty broad. We mentioned COVID. Everybody remembers COVID, I guess, unless you've still got some COVID fog, and maybe it's just a bad memory. But early on during COVID, remember everybody they were shutting down businesses? Well, there were 16 critical sectors that were identified by the Defense Department. Out of those 16 sectors, we participated in 13 of those. So what that meant was we never missed a beat. We were able to keep running. We kept all of our people working. I think we lost maybe 1 8-hour shift in one of our plants. So we were very fortunate. But virtually every industry there, you can find a Martin presence. The energy sector, a few of you have mentioned to me as we were sitting down that you knew Joe Martin. Well, Joe came in my office a few years ago, and I'm sure some of you touch upon the oil and gas industry, so you know the cyclical highs and lows that are just part of the oil and gas. Well, Joe came in my office and he sat down and he said, "Tell me how much of our business not business, but business, how much of our business is tied up in oil and gas. So I tried to give him kind of a conservative percentage. I did some mental calculations real quick, and I gave him a number. And he winced and said, God, you got to watch that. I said, what do you mean? He goes, that oil business will bite you in the butt if you let it get too big. And this was back in 2010-ish, when oil was at a very high mark. And I said, Joe, even if it craters, what's it going to fall to, $70, $60 a barrel? Well, in April 2020, when it was minus $35 a barrel, there's a reason his name was on the bill and mine's not. I like to say you have no idea what our products are, but you'd be very familiar with those using our products. And any name that you can pick there, I mean, food, building materials, pulp and paper, cement and aggregate, we pretty much touch upon everything. Anybody making something is going to use one of our parts. Another important segment for us are original equipment manufacturers, or OEMs. These are people that would take our parts and put them as an integral piece of product on their equipment that they're going to build and sell. You can see a lot of the names there, a lot of trenching companies, a lot of agricultural companies. You think trenchers, don't think garden tillers or garden trenchers. Think more oil and gas. Think about fiber optic lines. Think about solar power, wind power. Somehow you've got to get that juice to the grid. And so the trenching equipment manufacturers are a big, big part of our business. Some of the neat parts that we make there, if you see, those are some big gears that are used for crushing seed and soybean plants. At bottom left, if you can see that, just for some scale, those are some of our workers standing next to a part that's probably 20 feet in diameter. Some of the big mining conveyor pulleys that you see there, we ship those all over. Here's a really neat application. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe not, but out in West Texas, there's a 42-mile-long conveyor belt. I see some heads nodding. That's part of Atlas Sand's Dune Express project. That means 42 miles, basically you're taking a conveyor belt and pretty much running it from here to Denton. I mean, that is a long conveyor. If you see those big blue parts there, each one of those assemblies weighs over 18,000 pounds. We had some assemblies that weighed over 23,000 pounds. In total, we shipped over 22 flatbed truck loads going out to those guys. It was a great job. We built it, we shipped it, we got paid for it. And that was 2 years ago. And every night when I lay my head down on the pillow, I pray that we made them right. Maybe a few more serious applications and not so serious. If you've seen anything, and these things heat up in the Middle East, unfortunately still, you see Humvees. And those Humvees, most of them, where they're carrying personnel, have a gun turret on top. We make the gears that allow the GIs to turn those guns to fire at the bad guys. Wonderful Pistachios, we're the primary material handling supplier for Wonderful Pistachios. And every time I see one of those Super Bowl commercials, I think to myself, God, we should have charged them a lot more. Jerry's World, down at the end zone, we have the gears that open and close those big accordion doors. We kind of kept that quiet for a few years. We didn't want Troy Aikman or Joe Buck being on national television saying, looks like the door's jammed up, and we understand it's a local company that made them. So now you know kind of where some of our stuff goes. I'll tell you how we make them. We're very self-reliant. We're vertically integrated. Castings, we have our own foundry in Dallas, so that's where castings where you take metal, you heat it up to a liquid state, you pour it into a shape. Forgings, over on McCart Street in Fort Worth, that's where you heat metal up in a billet form, and you beat the punk out of it until it takes a hard shape. That's where you'd make hand tools and other things like that that need a near 100% density. Top right fabrication, basically the bending, cutting, welding, folding of metal, extensive fabricators. Now, injection molded, we it's where you take these basically plastic prills, and then you melt them, and then they're extruded out in a big press. And then lastly, sintered metal. And sintered metal is the fastest growing area of metalworking technology today. But sintered metal, you take metal in a powdered state, and then you compress it in the hydraulic presses. And our presses go up to 2,000 tons. Most of them average around 750 tons. But then what you're left with is a very precise shape. You then run it through what's called a sintering oven, and it takes those shapes up to about 2,050 degrees, and it allows those things to cook, almost like a cookie going in, but before there's a critical temperature range there prior to it melting. So it becomes a very hard part once it cools. It's a great way of making things. Some little sprockets that are maybe about the size of my fist. We make somewhere around 16 of those a minute in that facility. It takes a lot to keep those beasts fed. So to do that, we buy about 25,000 tons of steel every year. We buy about 10,000 tons of pipe, and we buy over 5,000 tons of plastic. I referred to Joe a bit. Some of you I know have met him. He was just an amazing man, and he took over our company after his father passed away, but Joe was only 30 years old when he took over our company. It was under his leadership and guidance and vision that the company grew to what it is today. We lost him a year and a half ago at 93, and he was still pretty much in the fight right up until that time. At his urging, he had us put together some of his thoughts, and we call it Joe's Code. And we use that kind of as a timeless guidepost for who we are today. But own your own territory, take care of our customers, run your facility, add something to the ball game, make sure your priorities are right, always committed to being a low-cost producer, and how to get big and stay small. And we think that's a big part of who we are. As we've grown over the years, we still want to be able to do things on a handshake. We still want to be able to interact intimately with our customers. Incidentally, we have an award every year in every one of our facilities for someone who's really added something to the ball game that year. And we don't want to sit back. We don't want to have a ticket and watch the game go. We want to be in the game. So we're kind of old school, but we've also now have put our toe into the new technology. At top left, that's a Microsoft product. It's called Power BI. It's an amazing tool if you're not using it. It's incredible. Everything from budgeting to scheduling through manufacturing to sales breakdowns to quoting analytics. That's huge for us. And when 60% of our business are specials and are all quoted, being able to have a tool that'll help us improve that conversion rate is huge. Our product configurator, what we call PCS, we can basically take from concept, we can take just some certain parameters. I think for a conventional sprocket, you can expand out the parametric values or the attributes of that part. It seems pretty simple, but there's like 111 different attributes that you can assign to that part. But we can build that through our product configurator. We can price it, we can build a 3D model, and we can put all the paperwork out to the shop. So it's an amazing tool. Communication tools. When I first started with Martin, we would do things like from one branch to another. We would call collect on a land phone. I don't see too many young people that I could explain what a phone is. But we would call collect, and the receiving party would deny the call. So then we would be able to pull everything that everybody needed, and that was the signal to call back. So we would limit the number of phone calls that we make. Today, we use Microsoft Teams, and almost all of our meetings are gone through the Teams portal. And we picked that up during COVID, and it was amazing. We bought the software, we installed it, and about 3 weeks later, COVID hit. And amazingly, it worked and worked very well. Internationally, an app that we use with a lot of our people in China, in Brazil, and in Mexico is WhatsApp. And some of you may have used it when you've traveled abroad. It's a great tool. We use it for chats. We also use it to share videos of applications and of different equipment that we're looking at. Chat GPT is a big deal for us. We have some of our younger salespeople that will dictate into their phone, just record it, and they'll download it into the Chat GPT app, and now they do their call summaries that way. I started reading, I'm like, man, this guy can really express himself. We made a really good hire there. Cisco Jabber, so anywhere in the world, we can just pull up an extension and go right through our computer system, and Jabber's a great tool as well. 3D printers, that's kind of a big thing, I guess, now. We love them. We use them in our foundry to make patterns. We also use them to make prototypes in our power transmission operations. Kind of a neat thing too, now we've expanded, we use QR codes, and we put on a label, and that's affixed to all of our made-to-order parts. So when it gets out into the field, after time, sometimes it's hard for a customer to remember, where did I even buy that? Whose is it? What is it? So now when they just take a picture of that QR code, it comes back into our IT department, and it's disseminated out to the sales territory. We know exactly what they made. We can also provide them any tech support that they need. But that's pretty cool. In Fort Worth, over in that top left, there's a new machining cell that we've installed. It's a paperless operation. It's a very quick turn facility. So our normal delivery for most made-to-order parts are 15 to 20 days. For most of our competitors, it's 25 to 30 days. We're setting a new standard. That top left picture in that cell, it's a 5-day maximum turnaround. The software that we use is proprietary, but it allows us to move product through the shop. It helps us to optimize equipment utilization. And what's really kind of neat, it's got a user configuration aspect to it. So think about if you go online and you're looking at cars, you can kind of build your own car. You can build sneakers, you can do all kinds of things. Well, you can build your own sprocket. So if you want to buy a sprocket, I can kind of guide you through that one. We're also using lasers now. We have a number of laser equipment. They're very precise. Not only they're very precise, but the nesting software helps us minimize our scrap. And we can do some incredible shapes. It's enabled us to eliminate a lot of different machining steps too. We used to have to take things over and drill them. We used to have to take things and deburr. That laser cuts out a lot of that. People. We've been very, very fortunate with the people that we have. We've got some incredibly dedicated people. Mike said I've been there 40 years. We've got a number of people there that have been there over 50 years. So just an incredible group of folks that we've been able to put together. I like to say that our company is made up of a ton of very, very ordinary people. But yet these ordinary people do extraordinary things each and every day. They stay late, they come in early, they make sure the parts are packaged the way they need to be. Our salespeople, if they don't have an answer for a customer, they will call them at the end of the day to tell them, I don't have an answer for you, but I'm still working on it, and I'll have one first thing in the morning. Just huge. So our people just make it really sets us apart on a very low-tech product. But keeping those people is hard. So some of the things that we've had to face is remote work. For us, remote work's not a good fit. We lack collaboration. We have a lot of ad hoc meetings. We like to move real quick. We want people to kind of feel part of the team. So remote work's not something that we're really into. Recruiting. We have 2 managers who've been with us a number of years that we've actually moved into a full-time recruiting position. We also use the services of a clinical psychologist that helps us with aptitude testing, who can take a skill set or a profile of someone that's been successful with us, and we're able to match that up with an applicant so we get the best possible chance of getting a good match there. I've moved 5 times with the company. Many of our managers have moved 3 times or more. Today, though, in trying to move people up through the ladder, it's not just that you're going to work 30 or 40 years and get a gold watch. It's challenging. 2 incomes, that work-life balance has been difficult to mitigate. We've had a pretty strong economy for the last 10 or 15 years, so most of our younger people think, well, if this job doesn't work, or I don't have to move, I'll just get another one. So those are some pretty big challenges. So as we started seeing some of those challenges, we decided we got to do something about it. And so we started out with a program that we call Elevate. In the Elevate program, we recruit what we think will be some pretty fast chargers, kind of like the NFL. If you're drafting a quarterback today in the first round, used to be they would stand on the sidelines for 2 or 3 years holding a clipboard. Well, today they've got to get them in the games right away. So we want these people to get in the game. We want them to make an impact. The other side of that is a lot of these younger people that have a lot on the ball, we know if we don't keep them moving on a pretty steep career trajectory, we're going to lose them. So this Elevate program, we bring them in, we expose them to virtually every aspect of our company: engineering, manufacturing, estimating, sales, IT, financial, even HR. After about 6 or 8 months, we have a pretty good idea of who they are. We have a pretty good idea of what they're good at. And we have a pretty good idea of what they like. If we can then take those things and match them up with where we have a need, we've got a really good chance for success. We've got a number of key people in key roles now that have come through that program, and we've got a really good group in the pipeline. Tariffs, they're tough. Fortunately for us, we're pretty, almost all domestic. The goods that we have coming in from Mexico are finished goods or USMCA exempt. A lot of our customers, though, have kind of taken the position, we're going to wait and see and play this thing out. So that's been a challenge for us. Challenges. Our low-tech product really puts an emphasis on logistical costs. We can't take a $20 part and add $40 worth of handling to it. Gray hair, the dilution of tribal knowledge. We're losing a lot of our older people who've got decades of experience. There's not a lot of domestically produced machine tools. And our labor force, our labor pool is shrinking. There's not so many folks now that want to become a welder or a NC operator. And then those that do, they're expensive, especially in this area where you've got aerospace, you've got automotive, you've got oil and gas. We do have a very strong US footprint. We like that. We like being able to make things turnkey. And the new people coming in, they can get more information out of their phone than we could years out of working with those Thomas registers. They're incredible. Excel, PowerPoint, they've got all the tools. Our global resources, China, Mexico, if we have to get into a fight, we've got some pretty good plants offshore that can help us. And then lastly, being privately held. To sum it up, we like our model. We're very proud of our past, but we're even more excited about our future. Thank you for having me. Sure. Yeah.
So you talked about people longevity. Tell us the best practice when it comes to employee engagement, retention, community.
Thank you. So was asked about our people and the longevity. You know, I think the thing that this came from the Martin family. And the Martin family was very big on making sure that we all felt like that our contribution was needed. They felt like that everyone always felt like that their contribution was appreciated. And they gave us all the opportunity to put our thumbprint on things. It's very open. The Martin family, I mean, we have a very flat corporate hierarchy. We want to make sure that we communicate closely with our people and they feel comfortable in talking to us. Sometimes the open door policy kind of bites you a little bit because sometimes people come in and share some things that, gosh, I don't think I would have said that. And, I think it's just more of that communal feel. You know, it's 2,500 or so employees, but it all feels like a family. And I think that's been the biggest thing that's led to our longevity of our people. In a lot of our factories, we have 3 generations working together, now the same family. Yeah. Thanks.
You mentioned 3D printing
Yes.
in your presentation. How much of it does it figure into your manufacturing?
You know, we use it to build patterns for our foundry and to make castings. So it's more of a complement to us. We also, as we're looking at new products or machining cells, we'll make the little small modules. So it's not a big deal for us, but it's more of a contributing kind of behind the scenes, is how we're using it.
One more question.
Better pay of blue-collar jobs seems to be the theme of tariffs. Another opportunity for you to expand on what some of the opportunities for people that don't want college debt and getting into what you do.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing that we offer a competitive wage. Our health care is self-insured, so we have low-cost health premiums. Probably the biggest thing we've got that adds to all of that is our profit-sharing program. And our profit-sharing program is very robust. The Martin family has always felt very strongly about continuing to fund it and fund it very, very well. I don't mind sharing with you, we've got a number of millionaires in non-management roles, and these are folks that are running a lathe or they're welding a conveyor. Yeah, they've been there 25, 30, 40 years, but when they started there, they were making $2 an hour. So the profit sharing is a big hook, and what we found is if we can keep somebody 7 or 8 years, they're usually going to be there for a while. It's a challenge. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. That was wonderful, and congratulations to 75 years. If you can stay for a few minutes after, I know there's more questions that folks were wanting, putting their hands up, so stick around, and thank you, Paul, for being here. I also want to say thank you to our sponsor today, Cadence Bank, past President Mark Nurden. We appreciate you. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you to all of our volunteers, Ed McGlynn for today's meeting volunteers, Jared Cobb, Polly Russell, Cindy Tonages, Gina Scholl, our AV techs, Kevin Chakosky, Tom Law, Chris Jordan, and Garrett Hadley. Thank you, as we could not do it, we could not have these meetings without you, our volunteers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Abby, for everything you do with your photography. Don't forget about the Crazy Pants Golf Tournament coming up. You won't want to miss next week, as we'll hear from Dr. Stephen Cady, President, Bright Divinity School. I also want to thank all of the volunteers that showed up this morning for the Literacy Roundup informational meeting. And now, a moment you've all been waiting for. Those of you, how many of you in this room completed our Rotary survey? Wonderful. You have been entered into a drawing for the Survey Summer Fun Pack. Would you? Ms. Krings? Yes, the Survey Summer Fun Pack. Ms. Christine's gonna, here we go. Show it around. It's heavy, okay, it is heavy. There's a lot of goodies in here for the summer. Exactly. I'm liking, okay, freezer pops. Sure, s'mores from Trader Joe's. There's a lot of goodies in here.
Does this have alcohol in it? Jalapeno limeade, all you have.
Jalapeno limeade. So your names have been entered into a drawing. So then you can think about us all summer long, Rotary. Doesn't that sound like fun? All right, you ready? And whoever we pull, I hope you're here, because if you're not, we're going to the next name.
Ooh, must be present to win.
Yes, must be present to win. I mean, well, I guess we could not be present. You and I could divide this up, but. Okay, you ready? Mr. Steve Kessler.
Yeah, he's here.
I know I saw him earlier. I thought, please don't tell me he left early. Congratulations. Yes. Come on up here. Awesome. See, everyone, when you complete a survey like that, it's so easy. Go online, complete it, a few questions, less than 5 minutes, and you too can celebrate Rotary all summer long with the Rotary Survey Summer Fun Pack. Now, congratulations. Before we adjourn, I would like to say a few words to wish one of our very own, the very best, Abby Dudek, joined this club June the 1st, 2021, 4.5 years ago, and 12 days. Since becoming a member, Abby has exemplified the 4-way test. She jumped in, volunteered for everything, lent a hand wherever it was needed, became a Paul Harris Fellow, and has been a constant cheerleader for the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. She is always positive and impactful. Abby and her family are headed to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, for new adventures. I must admit, I'm a little bit envious. She's already made connections with the Puerto Vallarta Rotary Club and soon will become a member there. But she will always be a part of the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. I wish the best of everything for Abby and her wife, Shannon. Thank you for being here today, Shannon, as they begin this new chapter. We'll miss you and your fantastic social media posts. Thank you for everything you have done for this club. You've given above and beyond. You cannot be replaced. We will miss you, and I think, could I have a show of hands? How many here would consider maybe we need a Rotary field trip? Site visit to that Rotary Club? Okay, we're going to get on that. Aurora, would you please get that bus ready? Thank you very much. Best wishes, dear friend. We appreciate you. Everyone, have a great weekend. This meeting is now adjourned.